Hello, friends. I come your way again as your brother and friend. My name is still David Mwanepe. Today I want to discuss the difference between a rector and a vicar. I've got this question several times asking me, rector, why do you answer rector? What is rector actually? I'm going to come this way. In Britain, in some parish or some diocese in Britain, they go with the name Vicar. But the Episcopal Church, the Acna churches here in the United States, I mean Anglicans, they use the title rector. I will explain the difference between a rector and a vicar. The main difference between a rector and a vicar lies in their historic responsibility within the church, particularly in the Anglican tradition. The distinguished differences that is quite known is that a rector is actually in charge of the parish where he is working in. He's totally in charge. He is not sent. I will tell you the process of making a rector. So a rector is usually sometime lifetime, or sometime, a lot of times the church does not really, the leadership of the church does not determine who, alone does not determine who becomes a rector. I will explain. So if you are, I'm talking of rector in the church setting, because we have two types of rector. We have rectors in institutions. So in most countries, they will address university heads as rectors or head of seminaries, people in charge of the seminary, like we call VC, usually call VC, or in Nigeria, the vice chancellor. So in most countries, you would hear rector as the VC or rector as the head of a particular institution, I mean academic institution. But rector as a priest is the person in charge of a parish, totally in charge of a parish. He controls the finances of the parish. He's in charge of decision making in the parish. A lot of power resides on him. He holds the vestry meeting. He makes decision with the vestry and makes everything is on him. And while a vicar is a representative, the word vicar means representative. So the vicar is representing the bishop. The bishop is the person in charge of whatever parish where you have a vicar. Any parish where you have a vicar, the bishop is in charge of that parish. That means the vicar is an assistant. The vicar is actually an assistant. And we also have vicars in the Roman Catholic Church. And that's exactly what it means when you hear vicar general. It means somebody that is under another person's authority and takes order from another person who is higher in authority than him. So the person becomes a vicar because he is delegated, while a rector is not. A rector is not historically. So a rector is in charge of his parish, and while the vicar is representing the bishop in his parish. So the authority of the rector, a rector generally had full authority and control over the parish, both spiritually and administratively. This is the primary duty of the rector. He is totally in control of the parish, both spiritually and administratively, while a vicar is often a representative of the bishop or even a rector. So a vicar does not have all full authority. His authority is derived from the diocesan, the bishop, who has sent him to be the vicar of a parish. So I hope we now see the clear difference between a rector and a vicar. So rector is usually the head of the independent parish, and the position is self-supporting. So if you are a rector, the diocese don't have to pay you. You don't have to pay the diocese. So you are self-dependent until the synod of the diocese makes a decision and say, oh, you guys can give us, you negotiate. Whatever you give to the diocese is negotiated. I mean, that it has to be negotiated at the synod or a convention where everybody will come and agree that this is what we will use to support the diocese. So in America, the Episcopal Church or the ACNA Church, they don't have what we call the quota system, where a parish is obligated to pay a certain amount of money to the diocese. It doesn't work that way. But while a vicar is a representative, so a vicar serves in a parish that might be really underfunded, or a parish that is totally dependent on the diocesan to support them, or they support the diocese, vice versa. So whatever the diocesan board or the bishop, the rule he makes affects all the parishes, because he is actually the man in charge of the entire parish. So he sends vicars to all the parishes within his jurisdiction or within his diocese. So this is the clear difference between a rector and a vicar. So that's why when we have a dean in the cathedral, you don't have rectors in the cathedral, you have deans in the cathedral. So the way the dean is in charge of the cathedral to make decisions in the cathedral, and he's in charge of the lower chapter of the cathedral, that is the same way a rector is in charge in his parish. Yes, a rector is totally in charge in his parish. He is not under there's nothing called a rule, a general rule that this is how it works. And so therefore I'm going to tell you the process of making a vicar and the process of making a rector. In the case of a vicar, once the parish is vacant, the bishop makes a decision of who becomes the next rector, so the next vicar. So he sends and appoints a vicar for a parish during location board. He will, in consultation with his fellow archdeacons and diocesan officials, he sends a vicar to a parish. So the vicar reports every Tom, Dick, and Harry of what goes on in the parish back to the bishop, because he is the main person in charge. He is the vicar, but if I may use, he is the vicar general, because Christ himself is he is also the vicar of Christ as a bishop, while you are a vicar to him. So all of you have to account to one person, which is God, and which is Jesus. We'll all account to Jesus, but we cannot all account to Jesus straight. So vicars will account to the vicar general here, which is the bishop, and the bishop will now account to Jesus. So that's how it works with the vicar. But while a rector, if there is a vacancy in a parish, the vestry will select what they call a search committee, and the search committee will go in search of a rector. They will interview candidates, and candidates that qualify to be rectors will now be recommended to the bishop for licensing if they are not licensed yet. But if they are licensed, the bishop will give them a mandate letter approving the appointment of a rector. So appointment of a rector is usually a local parish affair, and the rector can serve till he dies, retire, or resigns. So he doesn't go on transfer. So the bishop cannot wake up and say, you are transferred. He will either retire, resign, or he's dead. So that's the difference. So once a rector is hired, sealed, he could remain in the parish, in a particular parish, till that parish says we no longer have need of you, depending on what they have in their contract. So the rector usually has a contract between him and his parish. Between him and his parish. I said, let me bring this to your knowledge. We all learn every day. Anglicanism is so wide. The church is so big. So, but we continue to learn. One day, we will all be perfect. Thank you. This is the difference between the rector and a vicar. God bless you.